Hey guys, Kevin Schulteis here for another special episode, this time of the Free Wise Guys. And in this episode, we're doing a last minute impromptu special spotlight on Abi Johnson here. And I'll have her introduce herself. And I got to meet Abi a month and a half ago or something, middle of October. Coming through town, that was his second round through Alberta to drum up primarily for the October 20th municipal elections and in general, moving forward, to get more Christians involved in politics across the spectrum, all the way from municipal to federal. And I even spoke this morning and said, yeah, you need to even get involved in your condo boards and such. You know, getting involved is important. I think too many Christians are lazy and disengaged. So we need to practice that muscle. So this is where I ran into Abi, and I was blown away and on fire after listening to her speak for a few minutes at that event. And I said, "Oh, we got to talk, and I got to do whatever I can to shine the spotlight and praise what is praiseworthy." And I believe Abi stands on some good foundations. So I'd love to introduce her to the show. I'll have her introduce yourself, Abi. So tell us a little bit who you are, what you're doing, what are you about, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that lovely introduction and for having me here. My name's Abi Johnson, and I'm 20 years old. I grew up in a very strong Christian conservative family and learned the how to work hard. And so I was very involved in the community, in the church. I was president of my 4-H club, and then worked hard in my studies so that I could graduate by 16. And then by 18, I had a business diploma from Red Deer Polytechnic. And while I was there, I served as vice president for the Red Deer Polytechnic Conservative Club. And then after that, I went to Bible school in England at Cape and Ray Hall. And so had an incredible year there. And then ended up moving up to Edmonton, where I'm living here now. And I work in the Ministry of Primary and Preventative Health Services. And I decided we need to get involved. We need to do things. And I'm at a time in my life where I have time and I can dedicate that to a good cause. So decided to put my name in for Edmonton director for the United Conservative Party.
Wow. So you've already lived like more than lifetimes than most people do. You've just in that description. So hey, well, that kind of goes to show not, there's a saying that sometimes or what men are born or whatever young, and then they die at age 30 or something, and then they only get buried at 80.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I forget the real quote, but the point is so many people just live a mundane life after a little while, and either they don't take advantage. I loved what you just said, that you have some resources available and you wanted to then engage with them, right? Your time or your energy or money or whatever, and you wanted to put them to a purpose. What do you attribute some of your initial engagement or inklings toward politics or culture or engagement? What kind of it spurred you on to getting engaged and looking into it yourself?
I grew up in a very political family, and so we were always aware of what was going on, and we knew our MLA and our MP and county councilor. And so I was just kind of surrounded by it, and it was normal to me that I knew this and had this relationship with politics. And then growing up, getting to see my mom get more involved. She ended up being a director on the UCP board, on their founding board. And so I got to see her step into that, and now she's an MLA. And so seeing her join into politics really inspired me to do it more as well. And so then I started listening to more podcasts and seeing what's going on in the news, and that I just found it very interesting and very important for everyone, and especially Christians as well, to be involved in that and be aware of it.
You'd mentioned some podcasts and some influences. So your family major influence, growing that up and around you, which kind of shows you do become a bit of the nature of what's around you, right? So hopefully you're, not everybody's raised up in a healthy environment, first of all. And then number two is it kind of goes to show what we need to instill into our future families, that we need to be a healthy environment for our future families to give them chances to engage and grow in directions, as the Bible says, raise up a child in the way that they're supposed to go, right? So so that's excellent. So here's a question. Here you are getting engaged in such in your communities, whether it's school or churches and things like that. It's not normally a popular choice. It's like, I'm going into politics, or like, it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? The answer now might be, I want to be a YouTuber, that might be the most popular answer. I want to play Minecraft or something. So growing up, even like regardless in this less than, top 10 choices of whether occupation or hobby, how did you find yourself in terms of your community or support as you kind of went into it? You had your family, but how did you find it once you left the confines of your home and you went to school, you went to church? How did that find interacting with people? Was it standoffish or inquisitive, or was it sometimes maybe even aggressive or something? So how did you find that?
Yeah, well, I found for the most part, like my closer friends are also very conservative and very like-minded. And so they're like, "Yeah, Abby, that sounds great. That's fantastic." And then as I kind of broadened my environment and meeting other people, I found, there are some people that disagreed with my views. And so I found with those people, I you can kind of come to realize pretty soon that, okay, we differ on different things, but I still really value those people. And so I I would just make sure that the areas that we agreed on, that's what we talk about, and that's what brings us together. And the things that separate us, we just don't talk about that. And we might have very different views on that. And but when I'm having a conversation on that, we can still be friends because we can talk about what brings us together. And then there's a lot of people as well who don't really have an opinion one way or another. They're just kind of like, oh, politics, that's something for someone else to do. I know I vote every 4 years, but that's all I know. But I found even in having these conversations and people hear, oh, you're interested in politics, and they're curious and they want to get to know more, and well, why are you interested in that? And oh, well, how does this process work? Or oh, I just heard this in the news, what do you think of that? And so i I feel like I've had pretty positive experiences. And then when you get people who just don't want to be very happy, then you just don't take it personally, and you move forward.
Hey, excellent. Yeah, those are, hey, you want to know, congratulations. Yeah, you've had more frontline experience than even a lot of others that are even dipped their toe into the political circles. So congratulations on that. And yeah, you're already learning a lot of the tried and true lessons, and through experience. And sometimes, yes, it's not always roses, right? And
Mm.
a little bit sad and disappointment at times, but then you got to remember and look at the purpose and the end goals, and why you're doing what you're doing. You've also alluded to, as you're discussing things with friends, and even sometimes even the apathy you get. There are so many Canadians and people that are just disengaged, for a variety of reasons, of which, whether it's a lot in our churches or in our political circles, probably most parties across the board, regardless of the color of the party, um, youth and engagement with the younger people is definitely, they're I always say they're top heavy, like,
Mhm.
yeah, regardless of blue party or not. the average tends to be like 55 plus, right? And then there's like a big gap, and there might be a handful of younger ones, but it's top heavy. And I know a big part of your platform is, engaging with the youth and trying to spur on what that might look like, and try to get more engagement. What would be some of your thoughts in how to get more people engaged at a younger age? And I kind of even brought when's a good age to get involved, and what would that look like? Is there is there recommendations of podcasts, or maybe not everybody's got a political family? Nobody in the world almost has a political family. So as individuals, what would you recommend? Including getting around different circles of people. And I think you had some initiatives that you've talked about on other interviews about, some of your ideas of starting up some initiatives, including at campuses or something. So speak to us for a few minutes of how would you engage some of the younger people to get involved, and some of the challenges, and what you see in overcoming some of those.
I think any age is great to get involved. So even if you're 10 years old, like, start listening to things. Like, it's never too young to get involved. And yes, you aren't going to be running for positions at that age, but just starting to get aware is great. And for the UCP party at 14, you can become a member. And so I'd encourage all 14-year-olds, get your membership, go to events like the AGM, where it's so exciting to see so many conservatives together, and join your CA board. I met someone, and they were 14, and they were on their local CA board. And so you gain so much experience by joining younger. And also for the older people, it's so encouraging to see younger people getting involved. And some things I personally want to do, like, Charlie Kirk was one of my heroes. And if you look at what he did, he built this huge youth organization, and he went to where the students were, and he had conversations with them. And I think an issue that we have is we say, oh, the youth aren't engaged, but we're not going to where they are at, and we're not doing things that they're interested in. So I think we need to go to the campuses and get engaged. In Edmonton right now, U of A is the only campus that has a conservative club. No other ones do. And so I'd love to see some more conservative clubs start, and go in there, and maybe have some debates, or have gain people from different political sides, and let the students come and hear from both sides, rather than just the left that they're taught in the universities. And so I think those are a few things to really get engaged for the youth.
Hey, excellent. No, that sounds very exciting and positive. And Matt, sometimes you break the paradigms of the thinking. Like, get your kid involved at 10, bring them to AGMs, and they're already can be members at 14. You want to know what? I wouldn't have even been exposed to anything like that outside of until I'd left even my high school or something. Like, but I used to, as a youth, as a child. When you're growing up on the farm, you don't have much choice of who your friends are or who you get to hang out with. It's wherever your parents take you. And at least in the country, you had no transportation and you were stuck. But I remember sitting around the tables with the adults, listening to adult conversations, right? And current events. And I think that made me a more mature person very quickly. And I didn't realize the consequences of some of that. So, but yeah, your ideas of engaging them young, and bringing them around the campfire, as I say, or into the crowd, or getting them onto the playing field, and getting them engaged. So that's excellent. Maybe here's a final question, bonus question. Maybe we won't even have it. Maybe we'll edit it out or something. Who knows? We'll see where this is going. It can be bonus or separate.
Yeah.
You're fairly young in your political Christian politics. Politics and Christianity tend to be it's a hot topic because there's a huge amount of people thinking they should be separate and never the two shall meet. What are some of your thoughts on some of that? And then even more so, what would you say, and some of the safeguards? I want you to have a long and blessed career doing whatever the Lord has you want to do, whether it's long-term politics or whatever, although everything is political potentially. But there's the realm of politics. If you were long-term in the political realm, what are some of the issues with Christians is they tend to get very complacent, and we might be hard pressed to find some solid moral voices, including some of our favorite colored teams, and it's unfortunate. So what would you say to some of them, to whether it's their silence or disengagement or removal, strategic non-answering questions is a way of self-censoring themselves. What would you say it could be put into place for them and for yourself in the future, some safeguards to live a godly political life, if this is the realm that they are called to and you're called to in the future here? I know that's a tough question. So any thoughts on how one can have not be compromised, as if you're in a pool of a certain community and stuff like that, it can be tough not to be silent or not to potentially have a moral high ground when it's called for.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, it's so important for Christians to be involved in politics because politics affects so much of what we do. And if we say that's not our place, well, what happens when they start attacking our churches and our freedom for having believing in God? So we really need to be involved. And once you're in that space, like there's so much evil in there and so many people have bad intentions. So I think it's so important that you do have a good community around you and that you do have accountability, people that you can go to and say, this is what's going on in my life. These people have been attacking me, or people are trying to get me to compromise on this issue, and just really having those godly influences be able to speak into your life and say, this is what the Bible says. This is what the truth is, and we need to stick true to that. And I think Christians are the best equipped people to be in politics because we always know that we have God with us in whatever we're doing, and that at the end of the day, the gospel truth is the most important thing. And so amidst all of the other chaos, we can have hope in that. And so if we can go into politics with the hope of Christ, it's going to make things so much better because we have that hope there. Don't be afraid to step out. People are going to be upset at you, but people hated Jesus. So we're not called to have everyone like us. We're called to stand up for truth, and that's what I hope people will be able to do.
And I'll bring up where's some of the best places people can find some last minute information for you, and then even ongoing, then we can continue to pray for you and bless you as you continue your path on wherever you end up serving, because I know you'll be a blessing to whatever community and groups that you are involved in, and so there's that we can do. So where's some of the places people can find you?
Yeah, you can find me. I have a website, which is abijohnson.ca. You can head there. I also have Instagram, which is Abi Johnson UCP. And then I also have Facebook, which is just Abi Johnson. So you can find me on there. Feel free to send me a message. I'd love to get to chat with you. And I just want to encourage you, if you are not involved, find something to be involved with. See if your condo needs someone on the board, or see if there's a constituency association that you can join, or just some way to get involved, because it's so important.
Hey, excellent. Well, you are a great inspiration, and hopefully we can sprinkle some of this fairy dust around, and let a few of our younger people fly because of somebody like yourself. So thank you very much for blessing us and being an amazing example in politics. I wish I had somebody you in my circle when I was growing up. I didn't get inspired until I was late 20s, right? So, and then again, it's always a choice. So, and most people choose to be disengaged, including when we all have an option. We have plenty of options to serve around us. And it's so thank you very much for inspiring us, Abby. Tomorrow and for what the Friday, Saturday, Sunday is the AGM, correct, or something?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Yes, blessings on you for that, and whatever support we can do. When's the official vote for your particular positions? Is there a day, an hour, or do you approximately know?
Yeah, it'll be on Saturday, all the way from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So
Excellent.
yeah.
So, yeah. So if you're only partially attending the AGM, make sure you're there during that block of time. Don't miss that, and we can vote for those that are praiseworthy. So thank you very much, Abby, for serving us and serving Albertans, serving Canadians, and the world. And there are people meant to call out evil, and then the rest of the watchmen, hey, and praise what is praiseworthy. But then the rest of the population needs to rally around the watchmen. So here, let's rally around some great people like Abby, and let the Lord bless everybody through that. So thank you very much, Abby. It's a pleasure, and you have a great weekend. And hopefully we'll have you on some future podcasts, and there'll be a panel of us usually on those ones. So we'll go from there, and we'll dive deeper into some of this, and maybe we can develop some great. And if you got some future initiatives, we'd love to hear some of those.
Well, that sounds great, and thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you very much, guys. And continue turning into the Free Wise Guys. And you too want to be free, and you want to be wise, and you want to fear the Lord. So, and you too can be a free wise guy. So love you guys. Talk to you later. Blessings.